This is a story about a time when things were simpler, before the turn of the century, when the world could still be measured in miles ridden, promises kept, and bullets counted. A time when a man's word mattered because it was often the only thing he truly owned. There were no endless committees, no distant authorities hiding behind paperwork and polite smiles. Out on the frontier, justice traveled at the speed of a horse, and the law was carried alone by the few still willing to enforce it. I did not invent Marshal Martello. Men like him rode the real American West in the fading years of the 19th century. They were Civil War veterans, frontier marshals, and lone lawmen who watched the country they fought for change into something they barely recognized. Railroads sliced across the plains. Towns that once had little more than dust and hope grew into cities run by men in suits. The outlaws and black cats gave way to a quieter, more dangerous breed. Politicians, businessmen, and officials who learned how to steal with ledgers instead of guns. Martello is the last of an old breed, scarred by war, steady in his convictions, and increasingly out of place in a world that no longer values the kind of justice he delivers. His story is not a celebration of violence, but a meditation on what happens when personal honor collides with institutional corruption. It asks a simple, uncomfortable question. What becomes of the law when men sworn to uphold it choose profit over principle? The events of these pages are fictional, yet they draw from the very real struggles of the Gilded Age, a glittering yet rotten era of robber barons, lightning-fast railroads, and immense fortunes built on the backs of the working poor. It was a time when powerful syndicates rose in the shadows of rapid progress, when frontier towns were quietly poisoned by vice and graft, when the open range slowly died beneath the weight of the banks, political machines, and unchecked industry. The white powder that moves through the night shider's network echoes the narcotics trade that flourished unchecked before regulations finally took hold. The bought sheriffs, the compromised federal agents, the ruthless marriage of commerce and corruption. None of these are exaggerations of history. I wrote this story because I believe in the architect of the lone gunman still matters. I wrote this story because I believe the archetype of the lone lawman still matters, not because he always wins, but because someone has to stand when the system fails. Martello's path is hard, lonely, and ultimately costly. He is not a flawless hero. He is a man who refuses to look away, even when looking costs him everything. If you ride with him through these pages, you will see loyalty tested and betrayed, respect earned between enemies, and the cold arithmetic of frontier justice. You will watch a world that was already fading, even as one man tried to hold it together with nothing but his revolvers, his code, and an albino stallion that refused to fear death. This is not a story of how the West was won. This is a story of what it cost the last man willing to stand in its way. Welcome to Sawtooth County. The law is coming, but it rides alone. Scully Studios, July 2026.